Okay, I wanted, are you recording?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to do a little class on sampling, not just, we're not talking about just like handing sample out, like making up a little bottle and, handing it out. This is not really how everyone's going to have success. You have to have a certain mindset, okay? A mindset about sampling. What is our mindset? Hopefully, if I had a lot of time, I would go around the table and ask people questions and everything, but mindset is to help people. I mean, doTERRA is about it. Sure, we want to be diamonds and have, maybe some income. Some of us do, but you'll never get to success in doTERRA trying to, as people I've worked for in the past say, shove the product down their throat. It's not going to work. It's not the doTERRA way. We're not really like even though we're an MLM, we're not really like an MLM, and so we have to have a certain mindset. Our mindset's helping people. Okay, so I just want to get that point across. That we're helping people. Now, this is from Elise Shedevy. So a lot of it, I'm going with all of it 100%, but some of it I want to just tell you like my thoughts. Okay, so the first thing she writes here, she's right, invite, okay, very a key word, invite to try sample, okay? Invite to try sample. Why are you saying invite here? Because here, and I'll jump to the other side, but ultimately you're inviting to either a class, but nowadays with this COVID, you may be more of a one-on-one, but you're basically inviting them here to try a sample, so ultimately you want to invite them to either sit with them one-on-one and go over the products, or come to a class. And at this point, they're already, and I'll read some of this, they're already like not trying to think if doTERRA is right for them. No, at this invite point, they're already kind of in their mind just deciding like what they want to buy. Okay? So this is the key. You don't really want to invite people to a class prematurely or even get with them prematurely if they're not kind of hooked on doTERRA. They have to have, as Elise writes, awesome. It's got to be awesome somewhere for you to really want to carry forward, okay? And you can keep trying, but I just want to read some of the basics here, and then I'll go through it pretty quick. I know I'm tight on time. So, effective sampling gives the prospect an experience they need to justify for enrolling into doTERRA. So that is why you're sampling. You're sampling them so they can have an awesome experience to ultimately justify them getting involved in doTERRA. Hopefully doing a monthly order and things along those lines. Now, this sampling method is all about touches, okay? So I'll go through a quick, I'm gonna keep reading, but you're inviting them to try, delivering a sample, you're calling, that's 3 touches right there. Inviting to try a sample, delivering the sample, hopefully in person, or even if you're delivering it with a post office or something, delivering, checking in, contacting them again, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and inviting them, so that's 5. So you're talking about 5 touches from inviting them to a sample to inviting them to sit down with you or come to and then if they, if they're a little bit more recalcitrant, a little bit more difficult, it might take even a few more touches on the bottom. Okay, so this sampling method is about the touches and exposure. Every touch increases trust, because as you're talking to a person and spending time with somebody, they're and you're sincere about wanting to help them, again, mindset, they're going to understand that you're trying to help them and be more involved and inclined to talk to you, maybe open up to you about certain issues they're having, and this is the method of gaining trust. If somebody is reaching out to them, not one time, here's a sample, okay, now here's what we have, it's not going to work. Got to build. Got to have the touches. Okay, so touch goes. Every touch increases trust, adds to their experience with doTERRA, and when someone has been sampled well, okay, they come to a class not to learn about the oils, but to decide what they want to buy. Okay, this is the key. You have to sample them well, give them a little explanation of what they're sampling and why, discuss an issue they're having, which I'll get to here, and that will ultimately get them excited and want to be involved and want to use doTERRA in their life. Because it's changed my life. I could do a testimony now, but I'm only doing sampling here. But I'm happy to do a testimony, and you can hear it at some point. But even doTERRA has changed my life, and I can go into that when I'm talking to somebody on sampling, but not now, okay? Preface each sample with this. Okay, so this is a key. I've been a salesman for like my whole life, and doTERRA's not sales, but there's certain mindsets and techniques that you can take from a salesperson, just as like, this picture was taken from like a graphic artist, like, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody who knew how to do graphic art set this up, so not that I'm a graphic artist, but I'm taking an element of, graphic art. Okay, so preface each sample with this, and this is really very good. Trying natural products is similar to trying traditional remedies. So trying natural products, similar to trying traditional remedies. Okay, if something doesn't work and you decide to stay stuck, like in other words, you think, oh, it doesn't work, and oh, that's my life, and I'm stuck, and this is my life. If you decide to stay stuck, that's on you, but you try something else until you find what works. So that's one of the keys, is when you're handing a sample to somebody, you have to disclaim yourself. And I don't mean, this in a negative way. I mean this in everyone's body's different. Everyone has different body chemistry. A-, B+, O+. Everyone has different, from different parts of the world we're from, different genetics, also different blood types. The oils affect different people differently. So this is what you have to say when you're giving them oil. Look, we're trying again. Trying natural products. Say?
I was going to say, you preface it with that you could die, but you might.
Yeah, don't drink the whole bottle. We got to tell you this. We should tell them. Take a drop at a time. Okay. So trying natural products is similar to trying traditional remedies. And if something doesn't work, doTERRA has many products, blends, and specific oils. Also, we have supplements. There's a lot of things that we can do and try. So if the first thing doesn't work, don't give up. I want to hear about it, and we will talk about it. So you're saying this as you're handing them the sample, or as you're inviting them even to try. Okay, you can even say it twice. Say it when they're inviting to try, and also when you're delivering it. Get it in their head that if it doesn't work, okay, we can try something else. So you can try something else until you find what works. And when we found what works for you, we'll have found a safer, natural, cost-effective way to help with your, blank, whatever the product is. And that's one of the things is when we're doing the little presentation with doTERRA, which it took me 6 times to get in my head. I got it now. ATI-SEA, like C, like the sea, like Mediterranean Sea, and ATI, I keep it in my head. What's ATI? Aromatic, touch, and internal, okay? And what's C? Safe, effective, affordable. So she's going into that right there. She's already saying we found safer, natural, cost-effective way. So she's already putting a seed in somebody's head so that when she goes to the next step of it in class, when they're in the class and she's talking about aromatically, topically, internally, safe, effective, affordable, she's already kind of set up in the back of your mind. She's mentioned these little seeds that can blossom as you're talking to people. Okay, all right, so let's move on. Okay, so now you've invited them to try, you've talked to the person, you've delivered the sample either in person or post office, and now 2-day check-in. You must, once they get the sample, you've got to follow up. This is even in regular sales. The top salesmen follow up with their people. They don't just give them one spiel and then think they're going to call them back and they're the best guy in the world and they're talking to their wife and kids about the deal.
Nobody's going to call you back.
No one is going to call you back. You've got to call them in 2 days and check in and be sincere check-in. Okay. Now this is where Elise and I a little bit differ, but it's good that we differ, and it's good to also understand like her perspective, and then I want to give you a little bit of mine. Okay, so she's saying make the phone call in 2 days. Okay, 2 days. So also set up like don't give like if you're gonna give the oil on Friday, I don't know with Shabbos whatever Sunday you're gonna have to call back, or if you give it oil Thursday you're gonna call Motzei Shabbat. And you can do the math on the days. Okay, so now. Elise wrote this. I'm going to tell you what I thought. Okay, this is in my opinion, this is the bronze third method. Okay, it's the number 3. She says, when you call them, did you have an opportunity to try the sample yet? This is what she asked them. Did you have an opportunity to try the sample yet? I don't like that. Okay, I don't like that. But it's giving you, I think maybe she did it simply because she wanted to get a yes or a no answer. Okay? But you don't really want yes or no answers when you're talking to people. Okay?
How was the sample?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I'm with you.
How did the sample, what I thought of was how did the sample work for you? Why do I say that? Because I've already, when I talked about, just even the handing off the sample to them, I'm talking about it might work, it might not work. So I'm saying, how did the sample work for you? Why do I say it that way? Because they'll tell me if they didn't try. Did you try the sample, yes or no? Well, if I say, how did the sample work for you? They can say, oh, I didn't try it. Then I know that the answer is no. Okay, I don't have to ask them it then that way. So that's how did the sample work for you? If you want to write that down, that is from 30 years of sales experience.
Do not pass go. Do not go to jail.
Yes, exactly. So how did the sample work for you? Okay, so that's what I'm asking. If it worked great, they tried it, and the experience was awesome, bingo. You're gonna set up the invite to go and either sit with them one-on-one or to and have them come to a class. Next time in a week, whatever, Jody and Kang get together, they can do it. Okay, so now let's say they tried it, but not so awesome, not so great. Okay. So this is where I'm down with Elise here. Open-ended questions. Open-ended questions. Okay? Tell me about it. You don't go, what do you mean it didn't work? That is not going to get you, you're not going to get them one more drop of oil, okay? Okay?
Do you know how expensive that is?
Exactly. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Get the person, open up, listen to what happened. Now I have, just so you know, I have for everybody, I have a little package to hand out at the end.
Oh,
So I'll give you all. So I'm gonna go through a quick here. Listen to what happened. Listen to what happened, even if it takes them 5-10 minutes. The more they talk, the better. The more they talk, the better. Then number 2, you restate what they told you. Restate their experience. So you're gonna say something like, let me get this straight, or let me understand, or what you're telling me is. You could use any one of these little nuances that makes, the way you like to talk, but you want to ask them, tell me what happened. Did you try? Also reiterate to them, not only, reinstate their experience. Okay, you tried it, you did whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, did you put it on your feet like I suggested at night? Did you, cup in your hands in the morning and breathe it in? Whatever you told them and how to use the oil, just also make sure that they used it properly. They listen to you when you first talk to them, but you want them to open up here. And then what you're going to say is, okay, so after they speak to you and then you reiterate to them, let me understand, whatever, and so they understand that you listen to them and that you're understanding what they're telling you, then here's what we're going to do, okay? You're going to be paid. Now this I don't like also here, but she says, look, you're being patient with this process, so I'm going to be patient with you.
No.
So now, if you're talking to somebody who loves to go to the doctor, there's people who love their disease. I don't know if you've ever come across these people in your life. There's people who love their sickness, they love their disease, they're always going to the doctor. So if they're always going to the doctor, that's a great line. I'm being patient with you, and you be patient with me, and together, we're going to have a lot of patience. And it's kind of a play on patience too, because she's saying, you be patient, but then you're a patient. So she's saying it making it 2 ways, but. I really wouldn't say that. I'd say something like, instead of here's what we're going to do, and be patient, I'd say, like I told you when we originally spoke, that there's different body chemistry and different, blood types, and not every oil works the same. So then I would say something like that rather than just patient and you be patient, I be patient. I would reiterate to them, say, I explained to you when we first spoke, that not every oil works the same for everybody, and so let's do this. Okay. And then we'll keep trying things. We'll find what works, and when we do, we'll have a find that, again, she talks about safer, cost-effective, natural way to help you with your, it's like a code, when we play, we're musicians, so there's something called a coda in music, where if you see this little coda, then you go back to where the coda is. So this is what Elise is doing here. She's going back, saying the same thing again. Safe, effective, affordable, cost-effective, natural, okay? All right. So now, they didn't try it, or they didn't have a positive experience. If they didn't have a positive experience, but they tried it, then you go back here, okay? But if they haven't tried it, okay, here's what we're gonna do, okay? Give them instructions to use the sample the day or the evening, and let them know that you'll be calling them in the morning. So you're calling them now, 2 days later, they had the sample, they didn't try it. You tell them, here's what we're gonna do. You go over it with them again, how to use that sample of whatever product you gave them, and you say, I'm gonna call you in the morning, or depending on their schedule, I'm gonna call you tomorrow. How's about that? Instead of in the morning or the afternoon, I'll call you tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Now, they call them tomorrow, they still didn't try the sample. Now, you have to be a little bit chutzpahdik, a little bit, and you say, okay, listen, I'm gonna hold on, bring the sample to the phone. Like, go and get the sample, let's try it together, okay? Because if they're not gonna try it or not willing to try it, you need to either fish or cut, they say fish or cut bait, okay? So you need to know at this point if you're fishing or you're cutting bait, okay? If they're really not gonna try, I don't know where I left the sample, or like this, you just kind of know they're being polite and just kind of telling you they're not interested in, 7 billion people in this world, so don't worry about 1 or 2 people that might not, want to try or believe in it or whatever, okay? So if they do try and they get to the phone, they get it and they bring it to the phone and they try it, then, of course you'd have to follow up, like Elise didn't write to follow up, like she didn't say again, but I would call again the next day, or maybe in 2 days if you don't want to be so, but in 1 or 2 days, you got to call again after you've had them bring the oil to the phone or the sample to the phone and test it, and then again, if they had an awesome experience at that point, you go to invite, and if it's not awesome, then you can go through. You can use Elise's, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna be patient, I'm patient. Maybe you use it on the second one, because you don't wanna say the same thing. Like, one thing in sales is, you wanna say the same thing, but you don't wanna say it the same way. So I would use Elise's on my second call. I would say, okay, I appreciate you being patient with me. I know we tried an oil, and you were able to try it, and it didn't work effectively, and I appreciate you being patient. And since you're patient with me, I also want to. I don't know what to say being patient with you, but I also want to. You're being patient with me. I want to do my best to help you. It's always about a mindset.
Yeah.
I want to do my best to help you. You're being patient with me, and I appreciate it. And listen, I want to do my best to help you, or something along those mindset thoughts. And then just keep going down. You would just keep repeating. Rinse and repeat this. I would say, I don't, maybe we could ask Jody and Abigail, because they're more experienced than me, about how many samples you would give. But that's one thing I want to give you, just one more set, I'll be one more minute, and then, one thing she said at the beginning, and I didn't say it, and I apologize for missing it, give only one sample. Do not, as we say in sales, do not spill your candy in the lobby. Okay, do not spill your candy in the lobby. Don't go to even if they're your best friend, don't go with the lavender and the lemon and the peppermint and the digestion, the copaiba, and you're gonna make first of all, you're gonna make their head spin. And the first things first, you wanna talk to anyone, whether it's a dear friend or someone you just met, or someone, whatever, interested in oils, somehow came to you. You really wanna talk about the one problem they have, one issue, try to get that one issue figured out, and nail down. And a simple issue, not I have 4-stage cancer. No, I have trouble sleeping, or whatever a simple issue might be. Go with the simple issues first, and then you can always delve into the more difficult ones. And that being said, you want to go, I don't know, maybe 3 one-time samples, maybe 3. Would you say more than 3, Jody?
I wouldn't say more than 3.
Okay.
I would say 3.
So if you give them your 3 samples, you give them your best try on the 3, and hopefully in the 1 or the 2 they'll want to be invited to a class or a one-on-one, and even the 3rd hopefully they'll be invited. But again, if they don't, and I'm not trying to be negative in the group or anything, but if you give them 3 samples and they really said that nothing helped them, then it's good maybe to get somebody who's enthusiastic. Because I know as soon as I took the first smell of doTERRA, my body was give me more. I was like binging, like an addict kind of a way. I was like, give me more, give me more. Like the products really, I don't know, something in my body was saying, wow, this is really potent. This is really strong. This is beneficial. My olfactory nerve got turned on, and I just really felt like right away something good. So it didn't take me that long to want to be invited, want to, you know, buy my own products and this type of thing. So that's, well, like I say, I'm happy. I'll leave these up here. Sorry. I'll leave these up
And a
here.
couple on the floor?
And if anyone wants one, I have, what I did was.
Yes,
Yes?
I would love one.
Okay, so I just want to show you. So I have the little chart. Then on the back of the chart, what I did is I photocopied our,
Oh,
we
nice.
made little sample labels. And I'm giving everyone a little sample. When you take one of our labels out, there's a little hole. You can pop the hole. Sorry, I'm making a mess on your floor, Jody, but you pop the hole and you can put it on the sample bottle. It fits right on the dram bottle. And then they have your contact details, your sample. I was thinking that if you want to, as a group, you can speak with your upline, and we're happy to make these a little more generic on the back with not all, you know, our information, but the front is kind of, you know, good. And maybe we'll make one up for the group, you know, for our group with our new group logo or whatever. We can maybe make one up a little more generic. Happy to do that, but I wanted you guys to see at least the samples we give out, and then also the next thing I would talk about next time we get together would be the 10 foundation oils, which would be the conversation I'll have in my invite up here. That's why I left it for you all, is that I would be talking to them about, you know, what do they want to buy when I'm inviting them, or I would do a class, you know, for a few people that had the awesome experience. I would be talking about the 10 foundational oils. So that's part 2, and I really thank you all for your time.
Bravissimo.
Thank you so much.